So Amazon just released another trailer for Fallout Season 2, and I would have to say that the implications are pretty high with this one. So I wanted to go through it a little bit like I did the last one and just talk about a couple of things that I noticed and get your opinion on how you feel this next season of Fallout is going to work out. One of the first things that we see in the trailer is the Kings actually ghoulified. We saw them ghoulified in the last trailer, but it was out in the distance. It wasn't really the focus, but we clearly see here that the Kings are outside of Freeside and they are ghoulified. We then see a rad scorpion eating what I thought looked like a smaller rad scorpion or a bark scorpion, and that's pretty cool too. The animation on the rad scorpion looks great. The rad scorpion itself looks fantastic, and this altogether is a pretty cool scene. We also see the salesman. Everybody says I look like this guy. The chicken lover fighting with a rad roach. Also another really cool scene, especially since we're getting to see more and more creatures that the Fallout world has to offer. Thaddeus is then shown, and he has some kind of mouth growing out of the side of his chest with like ragged teeth and lips and stuff on it, and clearly he's mutating. I don't know exactly what he's supposed to be mutating into. Could be some kind of ghoul, could be some kind of super mutant, could be some kind of hybrid. I'm not sure, but I'm absolutely positive it have something to do. It would have something to do with the serum that he had in the first season. And we see a lot more of Thaddeus in this trailer, and it looks like he joins the gang for their trip across the wasteland. As the trailer continues, I'm not showcasing every single thing that happened in the trailer, just things that I find interesting or may tie into the games a little bit more than the rest. But I'm still not quite sure where Hank is here. A lot of people have speculated that he's under Vault 21, the part that Mr. House filled with concrete. I'm not quite sure. It should be in the Mojave area, in the New Vegas area, because that's where we saw him traveling. But I don't remember this area being in game at all. So that would make sense if it was the concrete-filled area under Vault 21 and Hank was able to get in there. So perhaps that's where he is. It is quite the facility, so very interesting to see what he's up to. Next we see Cooper as the ghoul, so this is post-war, traveling through Camp Gulf and even talking to an NCR soldier about his motives and things of that nature. One of these things with these Cooper flashbacks, I'm noticing that the rest of the gang isn't with him, and that's going to tie into more of what we see coming up in the trailer, but this could be before the events of New Vegas. It could be before the events of the show. It could be after New Vegas, before the show, that kind of thing. It might not be in the exact same timeline, which will tie into some big reveal that we see later on in the trailer. But it's cool to see Camp Gulf here, and I'm very curious to see how it pans out with Cooper, because one of the coolest parts of the show, in my opinion, is like his redemption arc, and I'm very interested to see how it plays out. Lucy and Cooper are shown inside of a dilapidated vault, and I'm very curious on what vault this is going to be. With all the overgrowth, even though there's not a whole lot of overgrowth, the fact that there is some at all makes me kind of feel like it might be Vault 22 with all the plant overgrowth and stuff like that. But why would they go there? I'm not quite sure. But it should be a vault in the area of New Vegas in the Mojave Wasteland. So either we're going to see a new vault that we didn't get to see in the game, or revisit one that we have already seen. So that's pretty interesting too. After Cooper talks about wanting to find his family, the screen goes black and we hear what is clearly a super mutant voice. And as soon as I heard it, I thought, oh, could this be Marcus? And a lot of people online thought it could be as well. It sucks that Michael Dorn isn't brought back to be the voice of Marcus, but at the same time, if this is Marcus, that's incredibly cool. I'm always into seeing reoccurring characters and to see what Marcus would be up to, 15 years or so after the events in New Vegas.
Well then, you're gonna need friends. There's a war coming.
He mentions that there's a war coming, and we see more stuff with the Brotherhood of Steel and all of their airships coming in, which shows that there's more than just the Pridwin in the air with the Brotherhood. There's a few of them in the air here, which we saw in the last trailer as well. Now this looks to be that same Area 51 location. The bunkers seem to match and stuff like that, so perhaps the Brotherhood has control of Area 51 in the Fallout universe, which would kind of make sense and would be interesting to explore, so I hope they do a little bit. But we see that the Brotherhood is in fact talking about civil war, as we have some kind of, when I remember in the first trailer, I thought that this could have been Arthur Maxson, but it's likely not. Some other commander of the Brotherhood is now wondering where his invitation is for this civil war. We also see that the remaining vault dwellers from the trifecta vault of 31, 32, and 33 are out and about. They've left the vault Curious to see what happens to them. Blue suits, as I have called them in the past, don't typically do so well in the wasteland if they're not prepared for it. So who knows how prepared these vault dwellers are going to be, or what their mission even is. So that'll be pretty interesting as well. Why'd they have to leave the vault? And with what I would call the biggest reveal of the trailer, we see a post-war Mr. House. And this is where I wanted to say that Cooper hasn't really been featured with the rest of the gang. So initially I thought, wow, they just canonized the ending of Fallout New Vegas with the Mr. House ending. But they could not have done that as well in a couple of different ways. Maybe this is during or before the events of New Vegas, and Cooper just happens to be in the area and he's talking to Mr. House, because we don't see the rest of the gang with him. But at the same time, maybe it's post New Vegas and in between New Vegas and the show, and Mr. House is still alive. If Mr. House is still alive and this is, current in the show, that means that the Mr. House ending is likely canon, because that's pretty much the only way to keep him alive like this. Pretty much. We see the fort getting absolutely decimated, just absolutely destroyed. Now, at least this area of the fort is getting destroyed, so clearly there's some kind of fight with the Legion, and it's going to blow up in a big way. We also see Macaulay Culkin's character, which confirms that whoever was wearing that Caesar crown before is Macaulay Culkin's character. I don't know if Culkin is the new Caesar. I don't know what's going on with this, because he's stabbing a legionary, so I doubt Caesar would, turn on the Legion, but at the same time, he could be disappointed with this member and making an example out of them, as Caesars do. Anyways, it doesn't matter. We finally get to confirm that that is Macaulay Culkin, and he's in the Legion at the very least. So let's see what happens with them. It looks like quite the dust up. We also see the chicken lover running towards Las Vegas, New Vegas. And this is another really good shot of the whole city that we get to see. It is much more built up than it is in the game, which I really like. They're able to put much more detail than Obsidian was able to put in back in 2015. And they can, they're using this technology with the show. It's not, it doesn't have to run on everybody's computers or consoles. So they're able to build New Vegas out in a way that we haven't seen it before. Looks fantastic. Lucky 38 standing tall in the middle. I'm very excited to see all the places they showcase in the show when it comes to New Vegas. We understand that the strip is going to be there and things of that nature, but I want to see the outlying areas that they decide to feature. We also get the Deathclaw reveal, which is another big one. It looks fantastic. It looks way bigger than this guy in power armor, and we see that they're fighting in front of the Lucky 38, so this is going on in the strip. Something that I think may have happened was perhaps a Deathclaw got into the strip and everybody just kind of bounced out until it got taken care of. But we'll find out, because the strip does look a little worse for wear, but everything in Fallout kind of looks a little worse for wear. So who knows exactly where they're going with this? We're going to have to find out when the show hits in December. But I'm very curious on exactly what the optics of this Deathclaw is. It looks very imposing. It looks bigger, so maybe it's an alpha male or a mother Deathclaw. Regardless, it's very cool to see. I think they did a good job, and that fight's probably going to be pretty epic. But that's just about it. I'm pretty excited for the next season. I love the first season of the show. This one's going to be even better because it takes place in one of my favorite areas of the entire universe, in the Mojave Desert around New Vegas. I think it's going to be great. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think are some of the implications that this trailer has given us? What do you think is going to happen in the show? Are you enjoying the show? Let me know down there. And it's been great chatting about this with you, and I'm excited to check it out here in December.
So this is Vegas, huh? I'd ask why my dad ran into a den of monsters, but he'd probably just tell me to shut the fudge up.